Good afternoon, everybody. Katie Farner here, Superstar Director for the Sunshine State Superstars. And you'll notice that I have two people with me today. I've got Director Shelby Cumby and Chair.
I just muted myself. Sorry, I muted myself right before that. Hi, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking time out of your day and listening to our takeaways today.
Awesome. We're glad you're here, Shelby. And we also have Director Danielle Schwepp with us as well.
Hey.
And baby Reese.
And Reese. Pippi.
With her Pippi. So cute. All right. So Dani and Shelby both recently went to Director Boot Camp. They have been absolutely on fire, so excited and so pumped since returning from boot camp just a couple weeks ago. So I thought it would be awesome if they came on a hangout with me and shared with all of us their takeaways from Director Boot Camp. Some of the things that they feel like we as a group could benefit from learning, especially as our up-and-coming leaders, our people that are in our Director Approach program. These are just takeaways for you guys to be able to possibly apply to your businesses and help you. Because we always say that even before you're a director, if that's what you want to be, that's how you should behave. Behave as the role you want to have, not the role that you do have. So I'm going to pass things over to Shelby first, and I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. And I want Shelby to go ahead and just share with you all the takeaways that she's got, and then Dani, as she's going, if there's something that you want to add or enhance to what Shelby's saying, definitely go ahead and do that. This is just really informal, just a casual sharing of ideas and takeaways. So thanks, Shelby and Dani. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, guys. Okay, so when it comes to my takeaways from boot camp, I would say that the number one thing that I took away was how to talk to my team and how to be a better leader. So that was really what I was going for, and I'm really glad that I came home, and I really feel like that's what I've accomplished. So some of the things that we focused on were conflict resolution and using incentives and shout outs to kind of let our team know how much they really do mean to us. So I really enjoyed implementing some of the things that I learned there, and most of the information that I learned there, I learned just from meeting new people, meeting the other directors, kind of feeding off of each other's experience and having conversations like during our downtime, which was awesome. We were able to sit in the lobby in the evenings and kind of like all just sit around and share stories and vent to each other and lift each other up, and that's what I really, really loved about boot camp. I came away from there with a strong bond with a group of women that I know I would have never had otherwise. So that's really been one of the biggest blessings. And also just kind of coming back and realizing that it's okay if we have shortcomings, and that all we can do is move forward and work on them and try and be better directors going forward. So those are the things that I really feel like I've learned from boot camp.
So I thought about the fact that I didn't actually really even explain what boot camp was, how you're eligible to go, the cost, all that stuff. Would you mind telling people about that, Shelby?
Sure. So boot camp is something that's only offered to directors. You can go, the first time you go, it's $100. And I believe you can go after that. It's just only if there's room and the cost is more. So it's really geared towards brand new directors that are learning how to lead their team and may not know some of the tips and tricks in being a director. And also it's great because a lot of us have similar struggles, and so being able to go to Scentsy home office and learn from them and actually feel like you're a part of Scentsy, it connects us. We were able to see where Scentsy began. We were able to talk with Orville and Heidi. So it was really just a great experience. But what it's geared towards is new directors, which I've been a director for about a year when I went. And it's also There were some people there on their second time, but it's just, as spots are available. So for me, it was just the first chance I got in after promoting to director to go.
So I want to ask you something that you brought up. You talked about conflict resolution. That's something that I think everyone deals with as they're building a team. So can you share any more details about what you learned about conflict resolution? I think that's something that we could all really benefit from hearing more about.
So some of the things that I learned were really to respond rather than react. And so if you have someone on your team that may be having an issue with, just to take your time in a response to them. There's no need to react, and nothing really with Scentsy is a crisis. So if you need to take some time and really think out your response to something, then take your time and come back and feel confident in your answer or in your response to them. I really loved Sarah shared something with us that was called like 4 squared breathing, which is basically a breathing technique that really just helps you to get your cool about you again and feel calm, because sometimes we have a way of talking to each other when we're having a bad day that makes the other person feel attacked. And it happens a lot with these leadership roles and having downlines and someone sponsor and then the director. So really just taking that time and to breathe, feel confident in what you're responding, and also to make sure that not to feed into anything that doesn't need to be fed into. So just if 2 team members are having a conflict, try to not get in the middle of it. Just try to handle it as best as you can without getting in the middle of their conflict. So those are some things that I learned.
That's awesome. I liked how you said respond rather than react. It's something that I've heard before, but I tend to just kind of forget about. And I think that's super important because it's totally okay to take that time to respond. In fact, home office tells us, like, we don't have to respond within a certain amount of time. They tell us it's okay if you respond a day after you get a text from a team member or what have you. Everything doesn't have to be instant answers. And oftentimes if we don't answer people instantly, they will go and find the answer on their own. So I love that you said that. And I want to know a little bit more about, you talked about shout outs and recognition and stuff. So what are some things that maybe you're doing differently since boot camp, or things that maybe just boot camp validated for you that you should continue doing that you might have already been doing regarding recognition, shout outs, that kind of stuff?
Sure. So for recognition, I learned that people really do love to get recognized and a lot of people, some people really love to get something in the mail. Some people really like a shout out on Facebook. So it validated for me because what I've been doing is postcards for my top PRV earners. I've been sending out birthday cards, send-anniversary cards, and congratulations on growing your team, kind of like a way to grow card. So the happy mail that I'm sending, I definitely validated for me that is, I'm in the right direction, and that I need to keep up with that and maintain that, because it really does mean something to someone to get something, like if they're having a bad day and they're recognized. I also do Facebook shout outs for my team when just on a either weekly or every few day basis. And then definitely at month end, I shout out their achievements as far as PRV goes or promotions and things like that. So that's been really cool. It really validated for me. One new thing that I learned was to have awards that don't necessarily come from a measurable goal. So if, say, someone they're a certified consultant and they haven't promoted, they've been a certified consultant for 12 months, but they are like super, super helpful in your team page, to definitely give them some kind of recognition for that. Whether it be like some kind of a mentor award, because that's definitely like mentoring behavior, or a Scentsy Spirit award. There's a lot of different things that I want to start using in my business that aren't necessarily measurable achievements. So that was definitely a takeaway.
I like that. And one of my friends, April Nyman, she actually says often that she likes to reward and recognize the behavior that produces the results we're seeking, not necessarily always the results. And I think that really plays along well with what you're saying too. Like sometimes things need to be recognized that aren't necessarily PRV or recruiting. So I love that you shared that. I think that's super, super true. All right, awesome. Thank you, Shelby.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dani, what are your takeaways from boot camp?
I went to boot camp, really pretty much wanting to take the same kind of takeaways that Shelby did, wanting to find ways to lead my team better, to train better, to just be just a well-rounded leader. And while I got a lot of that, my most hearted takeaways were actually about Scentsy itself. I kind of jumped into Scentsy really quickly, and I've kind of had to learn as I go about products and the history and everything else. So to like actually be there and kind of see firsthand everything, it was really kind of enlightening. I mean, I've loved every minute of being with Scentsy, but I got to dig a little deeper into that. So just like when we got to Scentsy Commons that first day, walking in, they had music playing and all the home office staff standing there with signs, and each sign had someone's name on it, one of the directors that were there, and so someone was holding my name, and they're all dancing and cheering, and I mean, like, literally I was tearing up, and they're just cheering as if, I don't know, like the only time I can say I've like seen something like that is like in a movie when like the king and queen are like walking through the town or whatever, and like all the common peasant folk are like, yay, and that, I don't know, that's kind of how it felt. So it was, that was really cool. That was the first thing, like right out the bat, walking into, and like Shelby was saying, it's only $100 to go. And, of course you got to pay for airfare and whatever, but that includes the majority of all your meals, your hotel. I mean, pretty much everything you're doing. And so it's well worth that. But I mean, you get a billion fold back in just experience and everything else. I mean, we got to walk through the manufacturing plant, and we got to see them pour the wax and cool the wax, and do all the testers and the room sprays and the oils. And I don't know why I picture, like, anytime I picture like a factory, I kind of picture like this dark, dingy place where, like, I don't know, like these mole people are like making wax or something, and like all these people are happy and it's bright and beautiful, and like the factory was just immaculate. I mean, it was gorgeous. There was nothing, like, there was no dirt. It wasn't dark. It was bright. It was beautiful. And it was just, I couldn't get over. There was someone next to me, and I'm probably sure she wanted to like smack me, like, shut up. And I'm like, look how clean it is. Look how like perfect it is. I mean, everything in here is like, has a purpose, and it's nice and it's orderly. And that was so cool. And then we went from there and we saw them, how they take the train that arrives with all the wax and then siphon it to the big barrels. And then they were telling us a story about how they used to take like the big 20-pound blocks of wax and like lift it over their heads and put it in the barrels, like back in the beginning days, and how someone just all day long has just been picking up 20-pound blocks of wax and throwing it in. And I don't know, that kind of like showed the dedication. And then you go from manufacturing to packaging, and you get to pack a box, and you see these women, and I mean, I forget her name, the one I got to shadow, but she like literally gets like a stack of bars, she like slants them on the table, sits them up, so like just the teeny little barcode that's on your bottom of your bar is showing on each one. It looks like a little staircase, and she's like beep, 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 just scanning everything, and she's going so fast, and it's so precise, but she's like putting love and care into this package. And then, you know, you go and pull stuff off the shelves, and they've got like this whole system, and then you see like all the products and all the, I mean, we got to pull Olympia Owl off the shelf and get her out of the box and snuggle her and like see her firsthand right there. And we were opening bars that we don't have and or that out right now, and it's just like, you know, and you're just smelling everything and walking around, and even that place was bright and beautiful and orderly, and it's just, it was all so happy. And we would go through telling people like, thank you so much for what you do, and they're like, thank you guys, you're the ones out there selling it, you're the reason we have a job. And it's like, oh my God, like they really value us as a consultant. And then, you know, they talk about, I just, you know, when people complain or say something negative in regards to something being packaged wrong or a package arriving later than expected or anything else, I mean, you really take that stuff for granted until you actually help and stand side by side someone and pack a box and see how fast they do it and how much care that they put into it. And I mean, they don't just throw bars in a box with tissue paper. I mean, there's a reason and a rhyme to everything and how they pack it and make sure it doesn't, you know, toss around during shipping and all that. And that was really cool. And then, you know, we had a graduation dinner, and I had Reese, and that was the cool thing too. I took my baby, guys, and like, I think I held her less than anybody because everyone kept stealing her. But we had a graduation dinner, and I was like, I had Reese in one arm and I have like a plate in the other, and I like had just sat down, and then all of a sudden like someone's standing beside me. I like look up, and it's Orville, and he's like, here, I'm done, I'll take her. And he just like whisks away my baby, and I'm like, okay. You know, and he's just playing with her for like half an hour. And then my last day before I went to the airport, we had gone to Scentsy Commons to eat. And Orville just comes over with a tray of food and sits down and starts talking to us as if, you know, he's known us from Adam. And like, that was so cool that you're just like welcomed in as this family. And that was the other thing too, is like, you know, we walked around all the different departments, the call center, which was another incredible place, like the wall of warmers and everything. But everyone genuinely loves their job. Like, there is no animosity. There is no, you know, like, okay, all the directors are here, let's put on a front or a face. I mean, everyone truly loves coming to work every day. And that's insane. To see that and see just all the stuff that they celebrate, and even you know, the call center is bright and beautiful and colorful, and there's like big life-size warmers in there, and there's just tons of stuff going on. And it was that, I don't know, to me it was that seeing everything. I mean, we know we have a consultant support. We know we have a manufacturing department. We know we have a shipping department, but actually see it all in play and see what happens when you place that order. So when it gets to you, like all that stuff and that happens in the background that you don't get to see, that you really don't take any of that for granted anymore. And and then going to the little travel trailer thing that they started Scentsy in, you go to see that first, and then you go to where we are now. It's just like, holy cow, like, you know, they've built this from nothing into something so incredible. And then I guess relationships, Shelby and I got to talking prior to boot camp, because we both knew that we were going, so we started getting to know each other beforehand. But then we got there, and you know, there was just under 60 people there, and we got to meet so many different leaders. The diversity of leaders is insane. I mean, hardly any of these women would, if they had been walking down the street, would I look at them and say, oh, you look like a Scentsy director, or you look like you could have a team of 100 women and all this stuff. And I mean, they all look like just normal people that I would meet in the grocery store, and that's really cool for you to look at all that and say, all right, you know, anybody can do this. Anyone can do it. You don't have to look a certain way, act a certain way, have certain clothes, certain attitude. And the other really cool thing too is how insecure everybody was. Everyone walked in there thinking, I don't belong here. You know, there's what the crap what am I doing? You know, everyone here has got their crap together. Everyone's got it figured out. What am I doing here? I'm going to fall on my face and make a fool of myself. And by the end of it, we were all on level playing field. I mean, we had all opened up. We had all some of us excelled in areas that other people had struggled with, but you know, they were excelling in areas that I struggled with. So it was really cool to kind of see just overall, we were just on this really level playing field, and we all came from super different backgrounds. You know, the very last day was really touching. We all had like this circle in the round talk thing, and a lot of girls opened up about how they had never even been told in their lives that someone was proud of them. And now they've finally gotten to the point in their life where they don't need anyone to, because they're proud of themselves for the first time, you know? And that was really heart-wrenching and cool to be a part of. And then of course, you know, I learned a lot about my business, just like what Shelby was saying with the recognition training, you know, recognizing behaviors that are going to produce certain outcomes. Don't just recognize someone for having, you know, 1,000 PRV. How did they get that? You know, recognize the party setup or the, you know, whatever, and start doing things. If you want people to get better, recognize the things it would take for them to get better. And what else? Just the overall knowledge. Like, we got to work on workstation stuff. We got to, like Shelby said, conflict resolution stuff. Not that I've really had any conflict issues in my team, but it's nice to know ahead of time how to handle stuff when those things do come about. Because at some point that kind of stuff's inevitable. I mean, it was a lot, and it's been it's taken up until now to kind of really decompress and sift through my head with everything that I took away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I remember, it's been a long time. I went to boot camp back in 2012, but I remember that feeling. I remember walking away feeling like, wow, there's so many things I want to start doing, and I want to change this or whatever. And it can be overwhelming to come back and feel like you've got so many things you want to apply. But what you shared, Dani, I think was some of my biggest takeaways too. What's interesting for Dani, you guys, is that this is Dani's first Scentsy event. She's been to World Tour. She went to World Tour in Orlando, but she hasn't been to Reunion. So this is her first time, like, seeing Heidi and Orville and experiencing that aspect of things. And so I think it's really cool to hear that perspective, because it wasn't for Shelby. Shelby's been to Reunion. She's been to leadership. So she's experienced the things. So it's interesting to hear both of your differences on your takeaways and what really impacted you. But when I went to boot camp, I also felt the same way you did. I came back feeling like, holy cow, everyone there literally is the happiest people I've ever seen at work.
Like, you think that they're spiking the Kool-Aid. I don't know. Like, everyone seems way too happy. Like, they've got this underground cafe food area with like this coffee shop, and then like ping pong tables, and like it looks like downtown Broadway and down there. And it's
amazing
like
food. It's not a cafe. It's like, this cannot be called a cafeteria. This is not cafeteria food.
I even told some of the like Sarah Walker and all them, I'm like, I don't know if you've so much like solidified my wanting to be a director consultant, or the fact that I want to like give that up and go work at Scentsy home office, because y'all got it pretty good.
Yeah, totally. Except they have a ceiling on their income and we don't. They really do have an awesome job, and they're truly very happy. And like you said before, they 100% value us. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about boot camp, is coming away seeing how much we really truly are valued, how much we are loved, how much people are just grateful for us, because they give all the credit to us. And it truly begins with Heidi and Orville, because that's their attitude. They have an attitude of gratitude. They are grateful for all of us consultants, because they know that all of this is because of us, not because of them. And so I just think that's amazing. Most people would, I'm sure, take the credit for themselves, you know, like, oh, well, look what we built. Look what we built. They don't say that. Look what you built. Look what the consultants built.
Well, we even, I had to end up feeding Reese and change your diaper and everything. And the rest of the group kind of went ahead, and they had already taken like a tour of Heidi and Orville's office and signed the wall. And I asked the guy behind the counter, I'm like, can I just like peek at the offices? Like, I don't want to, you don't have to tour me. I just want to look. And he's like, oh yeah, Heidi's back there. And so I walk back, and she and some other girl are at her desk, and they're setting up a Skype. She's like, yeah, I'm about to Skype across the country in like 15 minutes. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want to bother you. And she got up from her desk. She came and grabbed Reese, and she like took a picture with me. She walked us back up to the elevators. I mean, she took her time with us. She didn't rush us at all. She dropped what she was doing. And I mean, to me, that says value.
100%. 100%. Shelby, is there anything else that like you guys want to share, you guys want to talk about as we wind things down here? Is there anything else that you think people that are building their business to director, people who want to be directors, who want to be able to go to boot camp, they want to be in your shoes, what advice would you give to them? Maybe based on what you learned at boot camp, maybe not. But what advice would you girls give to them? And then is there anything else that y'all want to share? Like maybe Shelby, something Dani said sparked something that you wanted to add or whatever.
I just think that if you want to be a director, you just have to consistently work your business and really just no excuses. That's been those months that I've had excuses are those months that I look back and I wonder why I didn't just push forward through them. So I say, if you want to be a director, no excuses. Don't make excuses for yourself, and don't make excuses for your team. Like, if you want to keep doing it, then you got to do it, and you got to work your business every day. It doesn't take long. 15 minutes a day if you don't want to spend a lot of time on your business, but at least taking that 15 minutes a day and making sure that your sign is turned to open and that you're ready to talk to a customer or talk to a potential recruit if you have one. But just consistently working your business. And for me, and I guess that's not really a boot camp takeaway, but that's, if you want to be a director, you need to be actively recruiting and actively selling every single month. Shooting for annual sales and annual mentor are the way to be a director. Using what Scentsy gives us in our incentive trips it's like a beautiful thing, because Scentsy creates those to make us successful in our business. And then we get double the reward. We have a successful business that we've built in earning an incentive trip, and then we get to go on a trip for free. So I really think that using what Scentsy gives us, we have 2 trips a year, which is awesome. Using those as our driving forces in being successful at our business. And then also, being a leader, recognizing that some people aren't going to have the same goals as you, and that's okay. But just acknowledging those and recognizing those goals that they do have for their businesses, and then working with them to make sure that they can hit them if they need anything, or if they need a little motivation. Some people need motivation, some people don't, or a little push or a little nudge. And so just looking at your team as individuals and making sure that you know what they're looking for in their businesses will make them more successful, and in turn then this awesome thing happens and you become more successful. So that's really all that I have to say on getting to director, is just set your goals and then make a plan and work towards them.
I love everything you said. I don't know if you saw, but I was like clapping the whole time. So true. I mean, like what you said about annual sales, annual mentor, those behaviors are the behaviors that are going to get you to and help you maintain director. Building that wide front line because you're sponsoring consistently. Those are 100% set up to help you earn annual sales. Annual sales and annual mentor are designed to help you build and grow up the compensation plan. And the same thing with the incentive trip. So I love that you said that. It's so smart. Scentsy is double rewarding us.
Definitely. And I just really feel like once you hit director, like if you've made those goals a habit for yourself and your business, like you shouldn't struggle to hit your numbers if you're consistently working your business like you were the year that you hit director. You would just have to keep working. And I just thought of a takeaway. Okay, so this fantastic training that I think Jason Harwood had for us was about how we're not running a marathon. It's really more of like a triathlon. So once you hit director, how it's not like time to like take off your shoes and throw them and like just like lay on the floor and thank God that you're still alive. Like, you have to just transition to the next phase in your business, which is trying to maintain those director numbers and just continue to build your front line and continue to help grow your team. So like, that was really great information that I think that every single director or people that are close to director, going to hit director in the next year, or those that have just hit director, is like, you didn't just finish the race. Like, it's time to actually, okay, now what's the next step? What are we working towards now? You have to set new goals. A lot of times in becoming a director, our goals are very great and they're kind of exhausting towards the end because you just like, you have these steep goals. But then you have to make sure that you're continuing that behavior. You're continuing to have those sales. You're not only just coaching your team, you're also going out there and having parties yourself. You're recruiting yourself because your team's going to emulate your behavior. So if you're not putting, your heart and soul into your business, they aren't going to put their heart and souls into their businesses either. I mean, you may have like a diamond in the rough, but for a majority, people are looking to me for their pace car. They want to know what I'm doing. So that was a great takeaway, was like, it's not over. We're just moving on to something else. So I like that.
I'm glad you said that. Thank you, Shelby.
Mm-hmm.
Dani, what about you? Anything you want to say to wrap things up, and what advice would you give to people who are working towards director?
Well, Shelby reminded me of another takeaway I had, and this was probably something that I struggle with the most, is they had put a photo of one of those medicine balances scale things where, balances on both sides. And they had all the things you do in your daily life. If you're a mom, if you're a wife, if you have a job, if you do this, if you do that, all the things that have nothing to do with Scentsy that you have to do on a daily basis on one side. And then they add in all the things that you have with Scentsy: recruiting, sales, team, this, that, the other, events, fundraisers, all this stuff. On the other side. And he's like, is it ever a perfect balance? And it's like, heck to the no. And he's like, okay, well then what ends up happening? So you take some stuff off of this side. Well, then all of a sudden you feel guilty because, you took time away from your kid's ballet recital to work on some team recognition cards, but now you feel guilty that you didn't see the ballet recital. So then you take some stuff off of this side, but now you're feeling stressed out and behind because you didn't do the team recognition cards, or you didn't do the fundraiser, and you're not hitting your PRV, and then everything just starts stacking up and you're never in balance. And he said, you got to stop looking at your life as a scale. You need to look at it as an orchestra. You've got all these instruments. You've got the flutes and the clarinets and the percussion and all this stuff. And every instrument is every duty that you have to do, whether it's, wife, mom, Scentsy, this, that, and the other. And you're the conductor. And so if it's all playing at one time, which is what we try to make it do, it's just going to be this loud, ridiculous noise screaming in your ear. But he's like, if you can use it as a symphony and point to what it is that you're wanting to play at the time or in the moment, then it can all work together and create this huge orchestra and symphony and just all go harmoniously. And that's something that she's falling asleep. And that's something that I've struggled with, is just trying to make it all cohesive and not feeling like I've lost myself in the process. So that was a huge takeaway for me. And then as far as just getting to director, I can tell you guys that you will never find someone at director boot camp that's one leg in and one leg out. They're not doing Scentsy and something else. They're not trying to play every position in the field, doing a whole bunch of different businesses or a whole bunch of different things on the side. Scentsy is their passion and they're so excited about it, and you can tell. And like what Shelby said, you can't expect your team to perform well if you're not. If you aren't setting that example, if you aren't making the correct daily choices and leading by example, your team is not going to know what to do or how to do it. And if you're not talking with them, if you're not building relationships with them, if you're just kind of sponsoring people and then just letting them flounder around in the water until they drown, that's not maintainable either. You may, the only way you can get lucky in this business is if you just do everything as fast as possible and just throw your hands up in the air and say, okay, you know, now let's see what happens. You may get lucky in hitting a title once in a while, but it's very rare that happens. There's hardly any type of luck. You work towards everything. Everything needs to be on purpose. Recruiting, sales. I mean, and you know, they had said that you need to spend 80% of your time on Scentsy on your personal business and 20% on your team. And then of that 20%, you spend 80% of that 20% time on the people that want it. So it's sifting through and finding who it is that is like you and wanting to create a business. And for all of those, you love them and you help them when they need help. And then for others, you love them and you help them grow if that's what they're wanting. So it's a lot of symphony work.
I like that you said the whole 80 thing. I remember that from when I went to boot camp too. And it got all staticky when you said that. So can you repeat that, the thing about 80% of your time on your personal business? Can you repeat that part again?
So they were saying that if you look at the time that you spend on your business, 80% of that time should be spent on your personal business, because what ends up happening in this, and I've run into this issue, is you say you've recruited a ton one month, and then the next month you spend a lot of your energy trying to help all of those recruits when you should be spending 80% of your time on your own business and 20% of your business time working with your team. And because what ends up happening is your personal business falters. You don't hit your PRV marks, or you don't, and you can't do that. That's not maintainable. You can't keep just floundering around that way. And then of that 20% that you spend on your team, you need to spend 80% of that 20 on the people that actually want to do something with their business. So people that are making up the majority of your group wholesale, or people who are actively working towards promotions or growing themselves. And sometimes people are in this business to promote or recruit or what, and that's fine. But you got to identify those people.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it's not always the loudest people that are the people you should be spending that 80% of your team time on. It's not always the loudest people. Sometimes it's the quietest people that you wouldn't even notice, but they're the ones performing. They're the ones working. They're the ones hungry. Sometimes the loudest people are the people that are doing the least. So I think that's super important, that it's not just about who are you hearing from, who are you seeing posting on Facebook. Don't necessarily spend your time with those people. Spend your time with the people who are proving it with their actions that they want to do things with their business. And another way to really say that, which someone shared once, I honestly don't remember who said it. I think it might have been Orville, but I could be wrong. But you can, maybe, I don't know, I can't remember. You can run with 1,000 people, but you can only drag one person. And I think that really relates to what Dani's saying too. So what I like to say is I run with the runners, and if someone wants to sit, that's okay. They can sit, but I'm not going to try to drag them with me. Meaning someone who wants to sit, that would be someone who wants to just maintain their minimum, or is okay with just a little bit of sales each month, doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to earn a trip, just selling just for a little extra cash. That is someone that I would consider someone who wants to sit. Would you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And so if they want to sit, it's wrong of me to try to drag them along with me, someone who's trying to recruit at least 2 every month, try to sell at least 2,000 PRV every month, earn every single thing that Scentsy gives us. That's me. I consider that a runner. Wouldn't y'all consider that a runner?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it would be detrimental to my business, my 80% of my time I should be spending, like Dani said, to try to be dragging this person along with me. And it's detrimental to her too, because it's not what she wants. So what I'm trying to say is don't feel guilty if you're not sitting with the sitters, because they don't want you to sit with them. They don't want you hovering over them, asking them constantly if they need help or asking them about their PRV. They just want to know that if they come to you with a question, you'll answer their question. That's what the sitters want. Don't y'all think so?
And
Absolutely.
if you're doing it right, if you're spending 80% of your Scentsy time on your personal business, then you don't need to drag the sitters. You'll have enough new recruits to run with.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Maybe you're watching this and you feel like you don't even have any runners yet. They'll come. They'll come. I remember when I didn't have any runners. And look at these 2 amazing runners I have right there.
Shelby's like, I've been running and I hurt.
Yeah. I'm like, don't make me laugh.
Do your abs hurt?
Yeah, so much.
She started a new workout routine.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be doing that.
No,
Well, girls, I just want you to know how much I appreciate your time is very valuable. These girls are amazing, amazing directors. Amazing. If you are not already following them on Facebook, go to their Facebook page. Are y'all's pages set up to allow people to follow you, not just friend you?
Yeah.
Go to their Facebook pages and follow them. You're going to see everything they post anyway, because they're like me, their stuff is all public. So go to their page and follow them and just watch the way these 2 work and lead. They're amazing and so inspiring. And I am so grateful that they spent their valuable time with us this afternoon to share their Director Boot Camp takeaways. I really appreciate it, girls.
Of course. Anytime. It was a good reminder anyway.
All right. Well, we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a great weekend, and that you learned some little things today that you're ready to start applying to your business as you work towards director or try to maintain director. And I know I speak for both these girls too, and I'm sure they would definitely say the same thing. When you promote to director, you have to make time to go to boot camp. It's business changing.
Yes, you have to go. I'm so glad that I went, and it's something that it was hard for me to go. It's hard to leave home, and it's hard to leave your team, not be as present with them, but it is so worth it. You just have to do it. And the connections that I've made, just like with Dani, like we talk every single day, and she's there for me. She's going through the same exact thing I'm going through. So you just need to go.
If I can drag my butt across the country with a 4-month-old alone, y'all can do it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Dani is an excuse-busting queen, right? And we all need to be hashtag excuse-busting queen, just like her.
Yep.
But I mean, Shelby and I have our own, like we came home with like a little group of, we call them our little tribe of people that we met at boot camp that we really connected with, and we have been doing weekly chats and hangouts to stay accountable. So it goes past boot camp. It's not one and done. I mean, we've continued throughout. So y'all need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's something really powerful about meeting people that aren't necessarily in your upline or downline. There's something really powerful about having a connection with those people, because no one's success is dependent upon your actions, and it's a little more free when it comes to just obstacles or celebrating or anything like that. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, I've been part of a tribe like that for probably 1.5 years now, and it's so beneficial and so rewarding, because you, like someone mentioned earlier, I think it was Shelby, something about a pace car, and it does, when you have peers that are working towards the same goal you're working towards, and they're excuse busters like you, and they're no negativity, no nonsense. Those are the kind of things you're looking for in accountability buddies and people to be in a mastermind group or a tribe group with. And it's very, very helpful for your business. So when you go on trips, when you go to reunion, when you're on Facebook, look for those people, identify those people that you'd like to be in a tribe with, and reach out to them, because it's a wonderful thing for your business. So, All right, y'all. Well, we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching live or even watching the playback. And we'll see you guys again.
Bye, guys.
Bye.